Greetings, my dear viewer. You're on the channel The Price of Cheating. The channel is for those who appreciate traditional family values and condemn adultery. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. As Ryan swung open the door, he was greeted by the sight of Alexander, his close friend, standing in the rain with tears streaking his face. "Alex, what's going on? Get in here before you catch a cold," Ryan urged, stepping aside to let him in. The two made their way to the living room and sank into the couch. Moments later, Kelly, Ryan's wife, walked into the room. Her eyes immediately caught Alexander's tearful expression. "Alex, are you all right? What's happened?" she asked, her voice full of concern. "Kelly," Ryan interjected gently, "could you give us a minute? Maybe run a quick errand or something?" She nodded with understanding. "Of course." With that, she left the room, leaving the two men alone. Ryan leaned in, his expression serious. "Alex, whatever this is, it's clearly heavy. I'm here. Just tell me what's going on." Alexander hesitated, his voice trembling as he finally spoke. "Ryan, I need your help. I'm completely lost." Ryan straightened up, his demeanor shifting to one of determination. "Okay, tell me what you need, and I'll do my best." "I need to find myself again," Alexander admitted. "For 3 years I've been living a life that doesn't feel like mine anymore." "3 years?" Ryan repeated, his concern growing. "What's been going on for that long?" Alexander took a shaky breath before blurting out, "I've been cuckolded." Ryan blinked, his brow furrowing. "Wait, are you saying your wife has been with someone else? For 3 years?" Alexander nodded, his voice barely audible. "Yes, it's just one man, though." Ryan's shock was palpable. "Who is it?" "It's Thomas," Alexander confessed, his head hanging low. Ryan's jaw dropped. "Thomas? You're telling me this has been going on for 3 years and it's been him the whole time?" "Yes," Alexander whispered. "At first I let it happen. I even wanted it. The first time. I thought it would end there, but Samantha kept inviting him back. He'd mock me, rub it in my face, and I couldn't stand up to either of them." Ryan struggled to process what he was hearing. "You've been living with this? Letting it continue under your roof?" "Not always at our place," Alexander clarified. "Sometimes they meet at his house. Other times they go away for the weekend. Like this weekend. They're together now." Ryan's voice hardened. "And you've just let it happen? Why?" "Because I'm too weak to stop it," Alexander admitted bitterly. "The one time I tried to confront Thomas, he beat me, tied me up, and told me to stay out of their way. Samantha just laughed. I've been sleeping in the guest room ever since. 3 years, Ryan. 3 years without sharing a bed or any intimacy with my wife." Ryan shook his head, his frustration evident. "Alex, this is insane. You're paying the bills, covering the mortgage, and they treat you like this? It's beyond disrespectful." Alexander's voice cracked as he added, "They don't even let me watch anymore. It used to happen on rare occasions. My birthday, our anniversary. But now I'm completely excluded." Ryan exhaled sharply, shaking his head. "All right. You came here for help. What do you need from me?" Alexander's gaze steadied, though his hands trembled. "I need a divorce. I need to end this nightmare, but I'm terrified. I can't do it alone." Ryan nodded resolutely. "Okay, let's get started. Do you two have a prenup?" "Yes," Alexander replied. "Good. That'll make things easier," Ryan said, standing. "Let's head to my office and get the paperwork going." After preparing the documents, Ryan made a call to his friend Steve, who was visiting family in the area. "Hey Steve, it's Ryan. I need a big favor." "Anything for you, Ryan," Steve replied. "What's up?" "I've got a friend who needs a safe place to stay for a while. Could you take him with you when you head back and let him stay at your place?" Ryan explained. "Absolutely. Bring him to me and I'll take care of it," Steve assured him. By the end of the day, Ryan had ensured Alexander was safely out of town. That Sunday evening, when Samantha and Thomas returned to Alexander's house, Ryan was waiting for them on the porch. Samantha stopped in her tracks, gripping Thomas's hand. "Ryan? What are you doing here?" "I'm here for Alexander," Ryan replied coolly. "What are you talking about? Where is he?" Samantha demanded, her tone sharp. He's gone, Ryan stated plainly, and I doubt he's coming back. What do you mean? She pressed. Ignoring her question, Ryan handed her a folder. Consider yourself served. Samantha's face paled as she opened the folder. Divorce? Alexander wouldn't dare do this to me. Ryan smirked. Oh, he would, and he has every reason to. After 3 years of this, I'd say irreconcilable differences is putting it lightly. Samantha and Thomas stood speechless as Ryan turned and headed to his car. Where is he, Ryan? Tell me where he went, Samantha shouted. Ryan looked back, his expression unreadable. I have no idea, and even if I did, I wouldn't tell you. Have a good evening. With that, he drove away. By Monday afternoon, Samantha and her lawyer were seated in Ryan's office. The attorney argued that infidelity alone wasn't sufficient grounds for divorce, but Ryan was prepared. 3 years of blatant humiliation and disrespect go far beyond infidelity, Ryan countered. This is the definition of irreconcilable differences. He was ready to fight and win. Alexander decided to end the marriage earlier than initially intended. Samantha had drained much of his fortune, splurging on extravagant presents for Thomas, including a new car. That very car was now being targeted by Alexander's attorney, as outlined in the settlement negotiations. This is just a big misunderstanding, Ryan claimed. If I could just speak to Alexander for 5 minutes, I'm sure I could straighten everything out. Samantha's only response was a curt, yes. When Alexander came to see me last Saturday, he seemed resolute. He confessed that if he encountered Samantha, he might succumb to her request to halt the divorce. To ensure this didn't happen, he intended to leave town, avoiding any possibility of her persuading him. It was clear that for the first time in 3 years, Alexander was firmly standing his ground. Samantha, I understand your hesitance to move forward with this divorce, the attorney began. But I've reviewed the prenuptial agreement thoroughly. It's solid. There's no way around it. The financial privileges you've enjoyed will end, and the luxuries Thomas has been benefiting from at Alexander's expense will cease. Ryan interjected angrily. You've gone too far. Samantha shot back. Don't you dare speak to me that way. Ryan's tone remained steady. Why not? I'm not just Alexander's lawyer. I'm his friend. What you've done to him is despicable, and as your brother, I'm ashamed of you. By now, Thomas should have received legal notice holding him accountable for his part in this mess. Infuriated, Samantha struck Ryan. He reacted coldly. George, control your client. If she hits me again, I'll involve the police. George, trying to de-escalate the situation, urged Samantha to leave. There's nothing more we can achieve here, he muttered as they walked out. The atmosphere remained thick with tension long after they left. Later that day, Kelly barged into Ryan's office and slapped him across the face. Ryan, stunned, remarked, That's the second slap I've gotten today. The first one I understand, but what was that for? How could you side with Alexander over your own sister? Kelly demanded. He's your friend, but Samantha is family. Ryan's demeanor hardened. When I learned what Samantha had been doing to Alexander for 3 years, I couldn't stand by her anymore. Kelly looked perplexed. What are you talking about? What has she done? Ryan's expression turned grim. Thomas, he said flatly. What about Thomas? Kelly pressed. Ryan let out a weary sigh. Samantha has been having an affair with him for 3 years. Worse, she made sure Alexander knew. They even humiliated him by flaunting their relationship in his presence. He hasn't shared a bed with her or even used his own bedroom in all that time. She's spent his money on Thomas and treated him like a doormat. Kelly's shock was palpable. Why didn't Alexander leave her sooner? He's always been a passive person, Ryan explained. But now he's had enough. He's fighting back to reclaim his self-respect. Samantha attempted to obstruct the divorce by requesting a court order for a face-to-face meeting with Alexander. At the hearing, Ryan represented Alexander, who chose not to appear. Your Honor, if I could just speak to my husband, we could resolve this and move on, Samantha implored. Ryan countered. Your Honor, my client has specifically asked that no meeting be allowed. He's a kind, submissive man who endured 3 years of mistreatment. He fears that seeing her might lead him to change his mind under pressure. The judge considered Ryan's words carefully. You're claiming that a meeting would put your client back in a damaging situation? Yes, Your Honor, Ryan confirmed. Then I'll respect his wishes. No in-person meeting will be permitted, the judge declared. Samantha objected, but the judge was unwavering. Young lady, coercion is a serious offense. If you attempt to force him into staying, the consequences will extend far beyond divorce. Despite the ruling, Samantha continued her efforts to contact Alexander. Meanwhile, Ryan expedited the divorce process. George, acting for Samantha, tried to delay the proceedings but met with no success. 6 months later, Ryan filed for a final hearing. The judge mandated Alexander's presence, but issued a restraining order to prevent Samantha from approaching him directly. On the day of the hearing, Samantha was already in the courtroom when Alexander arrived with Ryan. She rushed toward him, pleading, "Please, let's work this out. Tell the judge we don't need this." Alexander remained silent, looking only to Ryan, who stepped in. "Samantha, this is pointless. Alexander is taking back the self-respect you and Thomas stripped away from him." The hearing commenced. George shifted his focus from opposing the divorce to contesting the settlement terms, but the outcome was inevitable. Alexander's battle for freedom was reaching its conclusion. When it was Ryan's opportunity to present his case, he stepped forward with poise. "Your Honor," he began, "I have submitted both video and photographic evidence documenting the affair between Samantha and Thomas. Additionally, I've provided proof of their mistreatment toward my client. You've reviewed this material. My client cherished his wife deeply. He still harbors feelings for her, to be honest. However, after enduring 3 years filled with betrayal, infidelity, emotional torment, and watching his earnings squandered on gifts for her lover, he reached a breaking point. That moment came last Friday night, which prompted him to seek my counsel and begin divorce proceedings." Ryan paused, allowing his words to settle before continuing. "On that particular evening, my client's wife and her lover were preparing for yet another weekend getaway, something they did frequently. Before their departure, my client overheard Thomas expressing his excitement that Samantha had finally agreed to let him father her child. This revelation was the final blow. After everything he had endured, the thought of raising another man's child as his own was too much. For the first time in 3 years, he decided to stand his ground. He refused to remain silent in the face of his wife's ongoing infidelity and its consequences, so he turned to me for assistance." Facing the judge, Ryan continued, "He asked me to help him escape this situation, to guide him through the legal process of divorce, and to help him reclaim his life. I immediately took action. But since then, Samantha and her attorney have done everything possible to stall or derail the proceedings. Your Honor, do you know why?" The judge gave a slight nod. "I have a suspicion, but it needs to be stated for the record." Ryan resumed, "When my client married his wife, she insisted on a highly detailed prenuptial agreement. At the time, she was in a lucrative position, while my client was just starting in an entry-level role. Out of love and trust, he signed it, believing their marriage would be a lifelong partnership. But the terms, originally crafted to protect her, have now turned against her." He elaborated, "The prenuptial agreement stipulates that no alimony or spousal support would be provided in the event of divorce. Furthermore, it specifies that financial assets would be divided based on each party's contribution to their combined income. 2 years into the marriage, my client earned a promotion to a management role, and from that point onward, he has contributed over 75% of their household income. Even considering the earlier years of their marriage, his share of the total financial assets exceeds 70%. Ryan allowed a brief pause before continuing. Additionally, the agreement states that any property owned prior to the marriage remains with its original owner. At the time, Samantha owned 2 modest homes in an area where property values have since declined significantly. In contrast, my client owned their marital home, which has increased in value substantially due to his investments and the rising market. Its worth has more than tripled. Concluding, Ryan said, "Your Honor, the financial stakes in this divorce are clear. Samantha stands to lose access to significant assets. In fact, 2 months ago, she attempted to relocate funds, a move my client anticipated and blocked by freezing his accounts until the divorce is finalized." Despite my client offering a fair settlement within the bounds of the prenuptial terms, Samantha and her attorney have not only rejected it, but also questioned the agreement's validity. He gestured toward the court documents. This prenuptial agreement was her creation, designed to safeguard her interests in case of divorce. Now, ironically, its provisions disadvantage her. This, Your Honor, is the outcome of her own design. The judge listened closely before addressing the court. Thank you, Mr. Ryan. I will review the case materials and make a decision. Court will reconvene at 2 p.m. During the recess, Ryan and Alexander's friends ensured that Samantha didn't approach him. When court resumed, the room fell silent as the judge returned to deliver the verdict. I have reached a conclusion, the judge announced. The petition for divorce is granted. It is clear that Alexander seeks to end this marriage, while Samantha's efforts are focused solely on retaining financial benefits. Samantha erupted in anger. No! This isn't fair! You can't make me agree to this! I don't consent to this divorce! The judge remained firm. Actually, I can. Legally, this marriage is now dissolved. Court is adjourned. Ryan turned to Alexander with a smile. Congratulations, you're a free man. Instead of shaking Ryan's hand, Alexander pulled him into a hug. Thank you, Ryan. I can never repay you. You've given me more than my freedom. You've restored my self-respect. Ryan clapped him on the back. I'm glad I could help, although staying at my parents' place might feel a little awkward for a while. It's a small price to pay. Alexander chuckled. Oh, and about the car? I love it. If she hadn't gone for the Market Challenger model, it's exactly the one I would have chosen. Taking it back with the court order was pretty satisfying. Ryan grinned. Well, let's get out of here. The two men exited the courtroom together, their smiles reflecting their triumph. As they walked past Samantha, who sat in the hallway with tears streaming down her face, neither looked back. This concludes the story. If you like it, then put your powerful like and subscribe to the channel.